Hello and welcome back to another Bad Movie Reviews review hosted by your two favourite fellas down under, Ben and Daniel. Yes, we do have Daniel back. It was only a few reviews without him, but nonetheless.
The week went quick.
Yes, yeah, correct. But it is what didn't go quick in terms of my mental state was because of this film.
Yeah.
It is none other.
Yep.
It is a film that thankfully we did see quite early. I believe the Australian release date is February, about 3 months' time. But it is, saw this early at the Jewish Film Festival in Melbourne, and it is none other than The Zone of Interest, directed by Jonathan Glazer, who most people would probably know him from directing Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson. But this film is... the best way to put it is it's basically about a commanding officer located in Auschwitz during World War II.
Yep.
And basically him and his wife and family are pretty much trying to have the perfect life outside of or right next to the camp. But that's probably where I'll leave it in terms of the plot because it is a lot to take in this film.
Definitely a lot to take in.
But without further ado, I'll leave it to you. I've reviewed 3 films this week, so I've been trying to just go off the top without having any cohesion in terms of someone to bounce back of. So I'll let you take the reins on this one.
It's gonna be a rough start, obviously a bit rusty from a week off, but I just don't even know where to start with this film without breaking down aspects of the plot and story and kind of going into spoiler territory. There's so much for discussion. Like I genuinely don't even know where to start. Like even if I enjoyed this film or what that looked like, it was a great film, but it's probably not the kind of film that I think you enjoy.
No, I will never ever
Use that
in
word.
my whole life watch this movie again.
Yeah, correct.
It is a fantastic movie in every sense of the mean.
Yeah.
It is genuinely the way it's crafted is just meticulous, just pinpoint accuracy, precision. But no, you don't enjoy it. I felt genuinely sick watching it.
Great film.
Yeah, anyway, continue. Sorry.
Great film. Not one you enjoy. It's for me. It's really hard to, I think, comment on the acting for this film. It's hard to say that it was exceptional, but they were exceptional at portraying the relevant story.
The best way to put it is I actually think this film, it's not a performance movie. It's actually more about the setting and the way you feel through the whole
Historical
thing.
accuracy too.
It's not to be honest, I don't think there was really one scene where there's close-ups or monologues or anything. It's more about, I think the whole film's just about the horror and evoking feeling. Everyone is seriously good in this film, but it's not, you're not probably not Academy Award nominations or anything in that mean. But yeah, you're right.
The silence in this film actually, I'm gonna just flick over to the audio design side of things, but the use of silence in this film said so much about the story. But then there's the famous saying, obviously, a picture paints 1,000 words. Then I reckon good sound design paints 1,000 pictures. Wowee. There is this movie's foundation is sound design for me. That's what I soaked in the most. There was so much going on, even when there was some emotional scenes or something which was trying to, grasp a different story. The background stuff that was just going on. One, historically accurate, but 2, really something to think about. Soaked in. It was great. And the lighting too. I thought the lighting in nearly every single scene was phenomenal. And it's not really kind of a spoiler, but one thing I'll just say to you, it's the towards the latter parts of the film, just when he's walking down the stairs, I'm like, dude, that's sick lighting. That looked awesome, the way they had corridors lit and the way they had certain points of interest lit too. I felt like that was great. God, I don't even know where to go from here. I don't know what my thoughts are on this film. It's a
lot. I thought it's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of my stuff leans towards kind of spoilery territory, which obviously I want to move away from. But yeah, I might throw it over to you because I'm a bit stumped for words, but then I might jump back in with a couple extra comments once I've put my brain back together
Yeah.
in this film. So what are your?
I actually, usually I drive to films and I kind of let it soak in my brain what I'm going to say. But this one you did drive. So I kind of actually did write a few notes. So forgive me if because it is a lot to unpack. I got to give my biggest props to, there's so many things to talk about this film. And one thing that I really took away from it is just like pure evil. In terms of, there's just a next level of degree in terms of the meticulous effort they put in. It's not like there's dialogue, like everything's played in percentages, and there are a few scenes there's probably only 2 or 3 scenes which are a bit more on the nose of what's actually happening, because obviously you know what horror is happening. Like we're very aware of what happened obviously in World War II and the Auschwitz camp specifically, but you actually don't like see anything, and the horror is definitely there, but there's no emphasis put on it. And I actually think that's what makes it probably one of the most like impactful World War II movies for me in memory. Like just the little things, like the characters having a cigarette while in the back line you can see obviously the fire coming up from the incinerators and the gas chambers, and even kids looking at teeth of
just they found
and like, you know, the soil in their garden that they built being the ashes of dead people. It's like things like that. It just actually like made you sick. And as I said, there's a few scenes where they're openly talking about what's going to happen in Hungary and openly talking about, you know, them building new chambers and things like that, which are obviously a bit more prevalent in what's going on. But it's just like the small meticulous details in the story that you kind of just like, it makes you feel ill, and it just shows and emphasizes like the evil that was happening in this time. And I probably still to this day, to be honest, obviously not to the extent, but Jonathan Glazer though, like this is one of the best looking films I've seen all year. I actually said this about Saltburn, which I saw, which you haven't, which I thought was breathtakingly beautiful. Obviously, you've got films like Spider-Verse, which is obviously more animated side of things. But in terms of the actual visuals of this film, it is ridiculous, to be honest. Like the cinematography, it is a breathtakingly gorgeous film to look at. The editing precision of the whole film, I think the film's about an hour and 45 minutes, but not one moment did I actually ever notice like camera movements. There was certain things like on a dolly for sure, but it wasn't as if there were camera movements. Like everything was edited, like everything was a fixed majority of what I noticed anyway.
Very fixed.
It was all fixed shots, fast paced editing, but all the shots were just beautiful. Like cement, like you're taking everything. It's
they were
like
telling the entire story and everything, weren't they?
Yeah, for sure. And the cinematography, and as you said, the sound design. Like the film starts off with like a probably 3-minute sequence of nothing. It's pitch black.
That's a heads up for everyone too.
It is pitch black, and it's just audio playing, but it's like very unsettling audio, and it just evokes feelings. And you know, you can just kind of feel that there's a horror that's going to happen. I agree with you. I did not enjoy this film one bit, but I could not take my eyes away because it was, as I said, like beautiful to look at in terms of, but just what was happening made me feel like just like blood boil. Like I was like, this is mind my, French, but I got to give a praise to, everything in terms of the production design, everything behind the camera, everything in front of the camera, costume. It was very time accurate in terms of all that side of things as well.
Yeah, definitely period accurate. I thought the pacing was really good. And when I mean good, I mean like it was consistent and it followed. It never had never crescendoed, if you follow that term correctly, but it maintained its same consistency throughout the entire film, which I think really made it like digestible. I don't think it's a movie that's easy to digest, but it's made it digestible, I think. So that's one thing that, probably gave it some extra points there. That's one I forgot to add.
I think even the attention to detail, like when the film's placed inside the home, you're kind of feeling obviously a very homey vibe, even though there's the sickness of what they're communicating in and little things. But then as soon as you're out of that, it showcases that horror. I think it all comes down to Glazer's efficiency as a director here.
Yeah.
He doesn't really want you to feel comfortable for a second.
No.
You felt sick the whole time. And as you said, like the way the film is made and edited and even look, he wants you to kind of marinate in it. It's probably the best word I can use.
Yeah, it's a
Like
good
he
word.
wants you
It's a
to
good
sit
word.
there and soak it all in. There's no fast paced cuts, editing, even the shots. Like as I said, like it's still, it allows you to just focus on everything that's coming in. And it's, as I said, like even the sound design and just, I can't give this film probably enough praise in terms of the filmmaking side of things. And obviously, as I did say, like to give this film probably the highest praise possible in its category is I do think it's probably the up there in like World War II films that'll actually stick with me. You see your World War II films, which are obviously your Hollywoodized budget, like big budget war films, which like you enjoy, but it's like films like, you know, Schindler's List, they're like impactful and they make me feel, and I just like reckon this is probably in that same department where it's like, I will never watch, I mean, I've watched Schindler's List twice and I like don't really ever want to watch it again just because it's like, even The Pianist is another war film. Like it's, I didn't sit there or like cry or anything in terms of that side of things. Like Schindler's List I did, but it's just like the horror and it just, I don't know. Like I've never watched a film in recent memory apart from like Five Nights at Freddy's, but that's a different degree of like making my blood boil because that was just a piece of shit. This film actually made my blood boil because I'm just like, how do people, like it's baffling to me that this kind of shit happened only 80 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I think about that, like my grandpa was alive, like, you know, when I do think about that, it's like, that's baffling to me.
Same.
It's literally 4 times my age where people were getting, and look, shit still happens, you know. It's just like, I can't, the horror that, obviously we weren't there to live it, but it's like this kind of film I feel like is probably the most, as I said, I can't really talk for it, but like it just feels like a very realistic depiction of the evil at the time.
100%.
Which we don't really see. And even the discussions between all the commanders and things like that, it does feel very realistic in that sense, where they're openly just discussing, you know, oh, if we build this, we're going to be able to kill
XYZ.
XYZ. Like everything's just, I don't know where I'm going with it.
It's rough. I don't even know where to add like extra points. I know we touched on it during some of your description, but like the fact that like every single scene like told a story in itself and everything in the background and foreground and things that are on walls all had like significant points. And like time jump related thing.
There
towards
was
the
a
end,
time jump related thing which kind of just like made me feel
that actually made me
like it was
most upset.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, because it's obviously that's like a real life. But like this film,
They showed the
they did show Auschwitz, like the
memorial they've got with
like the famous room with the glass with like the millions of shoes from the people who obviously went into the incinerator, kind of thing. So,
dang.
I'd love to go there. I've heard incredible things, like in terms of like nothing will move you like it. To actually go to Auschwitz, but man, the time jump really did affect me for sure, and that's probably one of the scenes I was talking about where it's very on the nose, not on the nose, but like it's the more prevalent. Like this is the horror that took place.
It's very grounding.
Because I'm not sure if the film is like completely fictional. I'm not actually sure if
this story like took place.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure if this is like
Yeah.
a full true story or if it took place. It's probably bad research on my part, but obviously that situation, like that is the reality of it.
Yeah, correct.
But man, no, I don't know where I'll sit in like 3 months' time when I talk about, you know, my favorite films of the year. Because usually I say, you know, is it the best or is it your favorite? Because there's certainly films I love where I'm like, it's my favorite, but it's not the best. Because this would, at this stage, I think be 100% up there in terms of the best, like. But I will never watch it again.
Never.
By any means.
And I don't recommend it, but go watch it.
It is harrowing. If you enjoy film, well, not enjoy films, but if you watch films and you take things out of it to evoke emotion, you watch films to feel something, this is probably up there for me. And probably up there for you to see. But I definitely think this is some of Jonathan Glazer's best work. The cast were pitch perfect in what they had to do.
Yep.
And And man, it is like incredibly heartbreaking and
It's messed up.
and just but please, if you have seen it, I know it has been showing it at film festivals around the world. I believe it showed at Cannes and New York and things like that. But if you have seen it, I would love to know what you think. I know it's getting rave reviews already, but yeah, if you have seen it, comment below. Let us know what you think. Please subscribe if you like our reviews. Put your notifications on, whatever, and comment below and give the video a like. But other than that, we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.